I guess we can go ahead and get started if there's anything. Today is, let's see, it's Friday, August 26th, 2022. I'm John Lee, and here with a bunch of good friends and members from STLREIA and some other people around the globe, I should say, to include everybody. So we're here. Anybody have anything you want to buy, sell? You're at the right place. If you got anything you have or want, or just questions about anything too. We do have a lot of good conversations here, and it's good to see everybody. Anybody have anything they want to talk about today? Here we are.
Yeah, who's going to start it out today? And we had Paul Cornelius on last week, and he really got things kicked off for us because he's getting ready to do a 1031 exchange. I don't see him on here today. I was curious if he's find a buyer for a couple of his properties he was offering. I'm sure he got some phone calls off of it. Had a lot of interest. Was anybody that's on today, was they here last week and talked to Paul? Call him up. I know, Ann, I thought you had expressed an interest.
And Paul, you said Paul?
Yeah, Paul Cornelius, he had those properties out in West County?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, sure.
Did you call him or get any more details?
No, I did not.
Okay. You're as lazy as I am, huh? I told him I was going to call him, and I thought, oh my gosh.
Well,
because
Friday. no, Laura, it's just because in his description, he said there were only, I think most of them were like 2 bedrooms, and I was more interested in 3 bedrooms.
Okay, but what caught my ear was he said they're on large lots.
Oh yeah,
I meant to follow up with if there was if they may have been one that was big enough lot to build an RV garage on. So if you've been coming to these for a while, you've heard me talk about. I'm still looking for a lot to build my RV garage on. So especially since now they won't let me store it in a hangar at the airport. So,
sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, now I know the rules. I wouldn't want to be in violation of any federal or FAA regulations. So.
Yes, Jim let us know that we can't do that, right?
Right.
Well, there are some airports that are privately owned and have not accepted federal money. And if you can find some of those out in the middle of nowhere or whatever, then it's possible you might be able to find something there.
But if I wanted to go out in the middle of nowhere, there's plenty of empty barns that I could buy out there to store my RV in.
True.
So looking for something a little closer in.
I know you want, something closer, yeah.
Yeah.
And not something that's close and not in a flood zone.
Yes, you figured that out too. Ann's been helping me forwards on any listing she sees that are have a lot, a buildable lot, and then I usually look them up, and he said, "Oops, that one's a flood zone also." If it's a reasonable price, anyway. But hey, that's where we are here.
Hey, Lloyd, this is Lisa Mandel. It's my first time here. What can you give me the dimensions of your RV and where you want it to be?
Oh, we're kind of a place I'm looking for storage. Do you have some potential storage spot? Yeah, it's obviously got a 25 footer. Right now I am renting an inside space, but it's and it's got a 12-foot, it's got a 14-foot door. I only need a 12-foot door. A 12 by 12-foot door would be good to get mine in.
Okay.
The place where I'm renting now has a 14-foot door, but.
And where, St. Louis County, St. Louis City, where?
I like, I live in St. Charles County, but I there's some west parts of St. Louis County, close to one of the bridges, the 70 or the Page extension.
Okay, and you want to rent or buy?
Well, I'm looking to buy. I'm currently renting a space. That's what I'm trying to get out of the rental. Being a landlord, I hate paying rents, but I love receiving them. On the other end of that rental market is kind of under my skin.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah, and we are looking for I know
Yeah, Ann is too. Go ahead.
But that's the problem, is the renting. We have it, it's rented now in a rental and it's uncovered. We have a 25 feet Sprinter and we do not want it out in the weather. But something close to Chesterfield, St. Charles, that area, something like that, yeah.
I've got a lead, a guy I've been working with for a couple of years, off-market property in Bridgeton. It's a really beautiful building. I mean, it's like office space and kind of, he does a printer in the back. It's a relatively new building with a tall garage, bathroom, kitchen. It might be sort of more building than you need.
That's fine. I was planning on, if I find a large enough lot, I was going to build something large enough. Ann's RV in there. I told her if I build a multi-unit one, she'd be my first renter, since she's trying to help me find a lot.
All right. Well, if you want to put your contact information in the
Sure. I'll
chat.
put my contact in the chat here, and
All
you
right. Sounds good.
give me a
Thanks.
call, or
Sure.
if Ann wants to do the same. Okay. So, anybody else got anything going on today here?
Hey Lloyd, it's David Randolph.
Yeah, David.
Hey, I got something. If anybody, and I'll put my phone number in the chat here if I figure out how to do it on the phone. Does anybody on here have any good 1031 exchange title company? I don't know if you call them title companies, but you know, the company that's going to hold your money for free while you're trying to figure out, you get into your next house and disperses it. A holding company. Does anybody have a good 1031 exchange holding company they could recommend? If you do, so for the recording, call 636 or text 636-685-2990. David Randolph at 636-685-2990 if you have any 1031. And I don't know, Lloyd, do you know any?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I use investor's title, and I've used them for my last 3 or 4 exchanges. I started using them back in the 90s. I think when I did my second exchange, but and that they weren't charging anything for it, because they said I explained the 1031. That was before they knew a whole lot about 1031s. I explained they just needed an escrow account to hold it, so I don't have. Oh, no, sure, we'll do that. That's what they do. They hold money in escrow accounts for a lot of things. They hold your earnest money in escrow, so they did that, and then I closed. So they got to, they know they're going to get at least 2 closings out of it. One you're selling and one that you're buying. So it's good business for them. Although they did have figured out since then that they can charge an extra $750 in your closing statement because they act as that escrow agent. But they've still been good. I still use them. I think everybody else charges about the same fee. I think maybe more.
So which branch are you using? Which
I'm
branch?
using one in St. Charles on Bluestone.
Okay, so that's investor's title on Bluestone. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but I'm sure probably all the other ones will do, because they send stuff through their attorney to make sure it meets all their requirements. But yeah, that's when I use. They've gotten to know the folks there, so they're familiar. Tell them I sent you if you haven't closed there before. Okay, anybody else? Any questions? Yeah, looking for a contractor. We're always pretty good. A lot of other investors here that may have needed And got a good recommendation? Like I might ask myself, I've got some contractors I work with where my wife and I are getting ready to do our kitchen at home here. We kind of, settled on the cabinets. We looked around at a number of places selling cabinets and countertops, and so now we're getting ready to contractor. But I got a couple, but I want to talk to more than just to some of them that I've done business with before. So, you got any good kitchen update contractors? Shouldn't require a whole lot. It's basically replacing the cabinets that are in place, maybe rearranging a few things, but not too much as far as the electrical or the plumbing. So I shouldn't get too deep into that. And I like contractors that don't mind having me as a helper too. So I know a lot of contractors don't like that, but I'm a good gopher. And well, I've done kitchens myself, but I don't want my own house here to drag out long enough as my kitchen, my remodels usually take. Like to have somebody that's got a little more of a crew than me to come in and get her done, as they say. Anyway, I don't know. I will talk until somebody comes up with something. I will say that we do have coming up in our September in-person meetings. It's coming up on the 20th of September. We're going to be having a panel discussion featuring our current board members and a couple of our nominees because we're doing our nominations in October. So we'll be having a little discussion there. And and our panel discussions are always interesting. We have a set of canned questions that we ask everybody that's on the panel. And then we open it up for questions from the audience. So be plenty of time if you want to get a broad range of spectrum of what people in the group are doing and how they're doing it. Be a good chance to do that in person. So yeah, we usually have a pretty good crowd at our panel, at the meetings where we have panel discussions. So looking forward to that coming up on the 20th of September. That's at the Shriner Center. If you checked our website, STLREIA.com. We should be getting it. Yeah, I don't have the agenda up on there yet, but we'll be getting that here within the next week. And I'll be getting it on Meetup too. So, and then you'll be getting some emails when Diana gets all that. But anyway, that's what's coming up. We got September panel discussion, in October and November, last two meetings for this year. We take December off because we always meet on the third week, and by the third week in December, everybody has something better they'd rather be doing than sitting in a meeting, even though it's a great group of people to be with. Usually got a lot of other family affairs to attend to that late in December. But glad to see everybody on September the 20th. And then let's see, John, I guess next Friday is I'm looking at my calendar, the 2nd of September. So that's the first Friday in September. So I'm assuming, unless we hear otherwise, that Kathy Davis will be the attorney, will be with us here. Give us an update on what the court systems are. And as we call it the Ask the Attorney Day, because she'll gladly take any real estate related questions. And if you got a sticky situation with a tenant, that's where she can be best to advise. She advised us all pretty well got us through the pandemic. And in fact, I used her advice to keep working. If you got a good tenant, just work with them, do what you can to keep them in place. And I did that with one of mine that struggled during the pandemic, and they got back online, and they're doing fine now. So looking forward to hearing Kathy next Friday. Okay, anybody thought of anything else that you need a hand with, or?
Yeah, Lord, I'm looking for a tree person. I know in one of the previous meetings, I have that, believe it was two different ones, but just wondering if there's anyone on today that was not on that day and might know of a good person to remove a tree. Is that like a medium-sized tree in the front yard?
I've got a great company. I can put it in the chat for you if you'd like.
Thanks, Lisa.
Sure.
Okay. And I will mention, I probably mentioned it last time that you asked us, Hanson Tree Service is somebody that I've been using for a number of years. And I've tried some others. I had let's see, it was two other times probably in the last 20 years. I tried two other companies, and I was okay with one of them, and I was very disappointed with the other one. So I keep going back to Hanson. They're my go-to guys. They're very professional. And out here in St. Charles, I get Russ Talley as their estimator. I got him on speed dial. If I got a branch that's hanging over a power line, or the last time I had, after a windstorm, I had one of those pears, what do they call them? Celery pears, I think they are. There's the name for them.
Hey, Ann, where's your tree at? What municipality is it?
It is in Hazelwood.
Hazelwood, okay, because Shin Lu was on here a couple weeks ago talking about her tree, and she'd sent me a message. They ended up having city contractor, actually, the city ended up removing her tree. So I don't know if you remember that conversation a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I just thought, I didn't remember where your property was, but so that wouldn't help it. So I was going to say maybe she could get you some more information. She sent some stuff, and I asked her if she could come and share that with us, but she didn't respond to that because I know she's pretty busy. So
Okay.
but that was like last week when she sent that to me. Yeah, on the 19th. So I haven't heard back from her. But anyway, she had some good news on hers, which I've never seen that happen. It's always been an act of God whenever I've messed with the cities or with trees or anything. So
Yeah, I do remember that conversation. Yes.
yeah. So I don't know if you could reach out to her, but that wouldn't really help you. I don't know that Hazelwood's going to help. They've so far, Hazelwood has never helped me with anything like that.
Yeah, they're not very helpful.
Well, and a lot of times when you ask them for stuff, it stirs up other stuff. Because I know one time, a couple years ago, one of the neighbors complained about something, and I said, "Well, look at his fence," and then all of a sudden, the guy went out there. Not only did he look at his fence, he looked at 3 or 4 more things that he didn't like about my property. So,
oh no.
my experience is just be quiet and take care of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been-
Right.
That's been my experience too, John.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But
I
maybe
had,
Mhm.
I was gonna say, John, I had St. Louis County. I didn't even ask for it. They just did it. Cut 2 dead trees down in front of my house in Spanish Lake. It was on the right of way. It was right by the street.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's on the right of way, maybe the city or county might take care of it. If it's anywhere else in the yard, then probably not.
Shin Lu's was across the fence with the neighbors. It was actually I don't know if you remember the conversation.
Yeah.
She was saying it was the neighbor's tree, and
Okay.
it's a deeper conversation. I mean, you can go back and listen to the replay if you want, but that's
Yeah.
I was surprised she got it, but she's Shin Lu.
Yeah.
She gets stuff that probably other people doesn't, because she'll go mess with it a little bit further. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I missed that Friday.
It's a good one to listen to if you want to, and then
Okay,
there's not a good outcome actually in her case.
that's good. Okay.
Yeah. So, mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I just want to have several options, and it's a great idea. I will call the city of Hazelwood, and maybe they might, especially since the tree is dead, they might just do that. It doesn't hurt to give it a try.
Yeah, like Jim said, if it's on the right of way, they there's a good chance they probably at least acknowledge it. I've just not had good luck with a lot of that stuff, and it stirs up other things. So I just be aware that it might wake up a sleeping dog that you might want to just leave sleeping.
That's true. Yes.
But it doesn't hurt. And then you can share your experience with us, Ann.
Yeah, right.
And while you have them on the phone, ask if they have any vacant lots that you could possibly put your RV on. Well,
Yeah.
the city knows a lot of stuff if you get in with the right people.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good idea.
And you can always put a garage or maybe a pole barn that looks like a garage, as long as you're not going to make it a commercial building or something that needs any kind of occupancy permits. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with lots.
Right. Yeah.
So you never know. I'd be curious to see what Hazelwood says to you.
I'm definitely going to try.
I was just curious if anyone went to any of the auctions this past week
Hey, good
and
question.
bought anything.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering if anybody went to the St. Louis County or city auctions this past week?
Mm-mm.
No?
No,
Dale
I didn't-
Sweet just did a presentation the other night for, I can't remember the name of the group. It was somebody down South St. Louis, Tower Grove maybe or something. And they talked about them because I know the city's auction was the next day. And you kind of know how I am on that. I think it's way too complicated and I don't like dealing with any of the government agencies. But this is a great time though, still to deal with people, because I'll guarantee you there's a lot of stuff that did not sell at the auction. If it's post third year now, the county will take over. The city has their own little agenda on how they deal with stuff. And it sounded, especially after listening to Dale again, because they're changing stuff with LRA and all that kind of stuff. Sounds like they've just thrown some more stuff in there that I personally don't want to deal with. A lot of people do though. I mean, Dale Sweet would be the one to talk to. You can get on his mailing list. They did give you a lot of good information though the other night too. There's a lot of documents they had on a Google Drive, I guess it is, where you can download some stuff. So I don't know, there wasn't that many people on the presentation. I was kind of surprised because it had a lot of people that worked in the county and the city too, which kind of surprised me. I expected to be a lot more people, but it's about like we have right here, as far as we tuned in.
Oh, I'll be
Yeah.
darned. Yeah.
Yeah, John, I was on on that Zoom too. It was a lot of information, but I'm just not brave enough to try it.
Well, it's really complicated, and it just, I don't know, everything just you start adding all these different layers. Now, this is my opinion. You start adding all these different layers of how you can do it, what works, what doesn't work. And the city and the county, they have all their own rules and everything else. I just, it's just not for me. I mean, you know how I feel. I like to deal with people before they get there, or if it's not after the post third year, if it's coming up to it, I'll deal with them. But there's so many other counties in Missouri where you can buy stuff over the counter that they'll actually own. You can own them right away. You don't have to go through all the red tape. It's just not for me. I mean, a lot of people love it, and I wish you all the luck in the world if you go do that. Just know what you're dealing with.
Do they ever post the houses that didn't sell on auction? Do you know? In the
You have to
city?
talk to them now. They change their rules as often as some of us take showers. I don't know.
Well, generally, for the auctions, they're posted in the legal newspapers, I believe, at least in St. Charles County. They are, because that's why I was getting the St. Charles Business Journal, I think it was, that where they post them back when I was following the auctions. And I think they had, when you actually go to the auction, they had a list, but in St. Charles County, they don't post a list on their website anywhere. But they do have it down like St. Charles County anyway. That's in the lobby of the county office building. They have a poster, a big of the listing. They're on an easel there for a couple weeks ahead of time. And as people come in and pay, they kind of scratch it off. They mark it up. They print it up, I don't know how far in advance, several weeks in advance, so people can come in and take a look at it there. And they probably have a list you can buy, but then I think they hand them out at the auction itself. You get a list.
Yeah, with Ann, I still don't have the nerve to purchase a property that I haven't really seen on the inside, and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I didn't make it.
And yeah, basically, most of them, though, at least in St. Charles County, you're just paying somebody else's taxes until they get their act together.
Right.
You can earn a good interest rate on it if you don't get too many other people bidding against you, because they got, like I said, like John says, there's all kinds of other rules. If you bid more than what the value of the taxes are, I don't think that gets you anymore. That just gives you less return on your investment. So you got to calculate that, how much you bid in if you're gonna try to outbid somebody else. And I found out that's the case in St. Charles County for a lot of them.
It's very different in the city. There's not a right of redemption. So it's more complicated in the county because the owner has a right of redemption, I think up to a year. But in the city, basically you buy the property and then you call Dale. he does everything.
Dale Sweet,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now, do you guys know, do they have any LRAs in the county?
LRA is a city, that's a city only kind of.
So city
government.
only, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. I mean, it would be great if they had some in the county. I would probably try some, but yeah, I just wondered if they did.
Well, they do actually in the county. What happens is if it makes it to the third tax sale and it's still not bought, it goes back to the municipality, and they just don't call it the LRA. And then I actually have a nonprofit client who has a relationship with the municipality, and they'll reach out to him and see if they want it. And they sometimes they just give it to them.
Oh, okay. That's how that works, huh?
Yeah. But that's in that particular municipality. I don't know if they all work that way.
All of them are different from what I understand. I know Dwayne worked out a deal or tried to work out a deal with one of them, and he met with the city, and they kind of had an inside guy that took care of most of the stuff, and then they wanted to resell them to him. Now you'll have to ask him for the details, but they wanted to resell it to him for like retail value almost. I mean, it wasn't even, by the time the stuff he showed me, it wasn't even a bargain anymore. So it just, my experience with dealing with any of the people, the municipalities is not ideal. I've even had some people in the smaller counties, like out in Stone County. Years ago, I used to buy stuff over the counter from them out on the other side of Lake of the Ozarks. And the guy, actually, I took him out for lunch and met with him. I was going to buy all their properties. They had like 200 or 300 of them. And I bought, I don't know, 7 or 8. And then he had a special counsel behind my back and changed the rules so they could sell them to me for more money. And I ended up not buying them all. And last I checked, they had, I don't know, just as many, if not more, every year coming in. So you have to be, I don't know, you almost have to be an insider, even though it's illegal. It just seems like that's my experience with them. I just, I don't know. You can check with them though. St. Louis County though, they do put out is it a post third year list? I know they used to have another auction coming up after the fact, and I don't even know when that is anymore. But I would be very, I would check with Dale Sweet, because he's up on all that, St. Louis County and city, because they seem to change the rules as we speak, on whatever fits them good for that day. I know on the other night on the presentation, the one gal from the LRA was supposed to be on there, but she wasn't there because they don't do it right anymore, and they're kind of on pause. So just know what my advice is, just know what you're getting into,
Yeah, I do have Dale's phone number and information. So yeah, if it's something I want to try.
Mm-hmm.
Is Dale Sweet a lawyer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
he sure is.
He is. He's an attorney. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let me see.
We've had him speak at some of our events in the past. So if there's enough interest, there might be a good topic to. We'll see if we can get him on next year sometime. Get him on the schedule. Okay, anybody else got anything? I see Amber left a note in the chat about asking if anybody has used or know of a tool library in St. Louis, or like a lending library, I guess, or tools. Anybody know of any? Anything? Is there a particular type of tool that you're looking for, Amber? I mean, I know some of the Lowe's and Home Depot have a few specialized things, I think that you can. And I know they've got, I know every time I walk down the insulation aisle, they got an insulation blower machine there that you can rent, or maybe if, I don't know, what, if you buy enough insulation, they might loan it to you for free if you buy enough insulation blown in.
Yeah, no, I wasn't looking for anything specific. I had just heard about tool libraries, and so I was just interested to see if there was one around me or anything like that. It's just a new concept I had heard about.
Okay.
Newer to me, I should say.
Okay. No, yeah, I've heard of tool libraries before. I can't think of where it was. No.
I know of a tool library that's been in existence for, I don't know, probably more than a decade. I'm not sure. And if anybody is thinking about setting up a tool library or getting together with a group and creating a tool library, they could contact this tool library for kind of a roadmap or, a template of how to do this. But it is a wonderful, wonderful asset for a community, because instead of everybody putting money out for a saw or this or that or shovel, whatever, people who don't use a tool but once or twice a year can just go to this tool library. And it's like any book library. You go in and you borrow it and you return it. And probably you may sign something that says you're going to return it in the same condition or replace it. I don't know. Because I've never borrowed anything from it. But it is a tool library that works for the community that I'm aware of. And I can get that information. I don't have it with me, but I can find out and bring it to the attention here at the next Zoom meeting. Be happy to do that.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it would be a great idea to start if there isn't one local. So thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of people don't have the financial resources to go and buy every tool that they may want at their home. So this is great. Yeah. All right.
That is an excellent idea. Maybe this group can get one. Because if you purchase a tool and then you only use it, one time, I mean, that you don't want to buy something like that. So
yeah.
Hey, maybe you guys should think about that, Lord.
Yeah,
John?
probably good. I was thinking that'd be a good idea. In fact, I got a few tools that I purchased and when I needed them once, and I'd be glad to donate them to the library.
Okay.
But because I haven't had a need for them since then. It's one of those things, maybe in a decade, I need a floor jack or something to hold up a beam while I'm putting a stiffener on it or reinforcing.
Yeah. And also, who has the space for every tool you might ever need, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So, okay.
Yeah, thank you. I just put, I don't know if you can see it, I just stuck Dale Sweet's info in there. If you want to get on his list, I don't know if you can open it. I did a screenshot of the slides I have. So let's see, click to open. Yeah, I can do it. Hopefully you can click to open it and get his information from there.
Yeah.
So if you want to know anything about the city or the county tax sales and our properties, that he would be the one to talk to.
Yep.
Yeah, the tool library is a great idea. Thanks for sharing that, Laurel. That would be something we may want to check into. I personally don't like getting my hands dirty anymore, so I pay other people to do that stuff for the most part. But even I had a nail in my brand new tire yesterday, and I even called the roadside assistance guy to come out and change my tire. So that's how much I am hands-on these days. I'm better off solving the problem and letting somebody else doing the physical work.
But to your point, I mean, that is, I think as the board, that's kind of where I was going, and that's why I asked the question.
Sure.
Maybe the board can come up with something.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, if you get somebody that wants to actually do it, that's great.
A tool librarian.
That's it.
Have to get somebody on the board that has experience as a tool librarian now.
Yeah.
No, you just have to get a willing participant.
Yeah, I know.
We could keep him out of Jim's hangar with his airplane.
Not
That's a
enough,
great idea.
I
not
was
enough,
just-
not enough room. They'll probably fit in Lloyd's RV space. Though.
RV.
Yeah,
Space is filling up. No.
I knew that was coming up, Lord.
Yeah, I know they coming too.
But if it's large enough, maybe have a little a little room to the side or something to, put tools in. I don't know where we will house this.
If Ann and I get an RV garage built, we'll make sure we have a little storage unit on there for the tool library. How's that? So, or if Lisa can find us that property.
Yeah, hey Lloyd, it's David Randolph.
Yeah, David.
Yeah, I thought of another thing. My rental out in Wright City, I'm going to put tile shower in and tile backsplash. So if anybody's got I don't want to call him a handyman, but someone that kind of does a small tile job with it. My rental, I'm going to put tile in there because I'm going to get it ready for selling in the future. I kind of realized something, Lloyd, that when your tenant leaves and you have to do all that work, that's a good time to, in my opinion, get that ready for if you want to go out on the market and get rid of it. Because if I wanted to sell the thing, and then I get the tenant out and then I got to do all the rehab, the whole market's changed by then. I need to get the house, in much better shape, when they're out between tenants, if I do want to sell it in the future. So I'm going to put tile in my shower and kitchen backsplash. I don't figure they can destroy that. So that should be safe to do. So anyway, so if you got a tile guy, text David Randolph at 636-685-2990. If anybody listening in on this call on Monday. Thanks a lot, Lloyd.
Okay. Yeah, I might send you. I'll look up Mr. Tile. The last time I had tile work done that I really liked. Now I had some contractors that do floors and they say, oh yeah, I'll do tile. I'll do your backsplash. And I wasn't too happy with the backsplashes that they did for me. It takes a little more expertise to make a good looking backsplash than does a floor. But Mr. Tile was his name out here in St. Charles. Hopefully he's still around. I'll look up if I can find his number. I'll text him to you. But yeah. And that is a good strategy, David. I use that. I always plan in between tenants. I plan an upgrade to my rental houses, so I don't have to do a full blown renovation again when I get ready to sell it. Do things little by little, and make the improvements as you go, and then so it's not a big long term renovation to get it ready to sell. And hopefully you can find what I'm always looking for is a lease option tenant. And keep them in really nice shape, nice enough to when people want to buy them. Then you might find a lease option tenant that would buy it, and you don't have to go through all that work of renovating it before you sell it, because they were already living there, so they know what it's like. They've test driven the neighborhood.
Yeah. Hey, Lloyd. Maybe you can help me out, or other people on the call. So my tenant left with 4 days notice. And so they violated all kinds of rental agreement stuff. Make all that worse, then, of course, there's turn out to be damages. So I got about a $3,000 bill. Does anybody know how to find the tenant? Because they did not leave a forwarding address. And so for the past month, the mail just piled up in the mailbox. So I knew there was no forwarding address. I sent them the required Missouri state mandatory letter within the 30 days stating, this is what you owe, so that I don't owe triple damages to them. I mailed it off, but it came back, because there was no forwarding address. Anybody have any advice on how to collect this $3,000, or how to try to, maybe find these people? Appreciate it.
Well, do you know where they work from their rental application?
Well, no, that's the thing. Basically, I think they changed job. Well, actually, you're right. I mean, good idea, actually.
Thank you.
I think that they moved out of state. Well, okay, here's how I know it. Okay, so the guy had a job at Coca-Cola. I knew that, okay. $100,000 a year salary, you thought you'd be pretty safe. But apparently, big people have big problems, not just small houses with small problems, they're bigger. So there is a delivery box on the front porch from Pepsi that says, here's your new hire package. And so I think he went to Pepsi. But, of course, I don't have any contact info and stuff. But, maybe I guess what you're saying is, Jim, is to call Pepsi up and make up some kind of, I don't know how I would do it, but find out if he, is there somehow.
Or you could have Kathy maybe send a letter or call if you can't figure out how to fake them.
Do you, David, do you have an authorization to release information that you got when he first signed his lease?
No, I don't.
Because I was going to say you could send a verification of employment. That's how we used to do it. The other thing that you may try is go to truepeoplesearch.com and look for his relatives. If you scroll down, if you find where he was, which he will show up as being as a known address, probably anyway, not always, but probably in your property that he just left from, that should be a current address. And if you scroll down, they'll show you they show you a lot of stuff, cell phone numbers, email addresses, and then possible relatives and associates. That's how I find a lot of people that I send letters to when I'm looking for owners of vacant properties.
Yeah, good. I like the authorization. What I'll do is just pretend like he's making an application, 3 years later, and just send it to Pepsi.
Yep. I always get one and put it in my file. I do owner financing now. We don't have rentals anymore, but I always get one of them. And I did that even for the rental properties too. And don't date it. You have them sign it because they'll sign everything when they're filling out the papers. They won't sign anything when there's a problem or after the fact. So if you have one in your file, a fresh one, most of the time, they'll take like an email one or even a fax one. Some people still deal with that, but they may want an original. You can do a certified copy yourself. But if you have one in your file, I do them for all kinds of things. We used to use them with lease options. I used to use them when I was a mortgage broker all the time. And that's just a standard document I use. It's just a real simple form, authorization, release information, and then you can apply the information at the time you use it. That's just a good thing to have in your file. It may be too late for this guy, but you could probably find out his relatives or something too. One of the things we used to use too is we would try to find his mother and then say, there's ways you can do it. You have to be careful how you word it so you're not completely breaking the law, like lying to him, but you can say you have a special delivery and you couldn't find his address because their mothers always know where they're at, no matter what. They can move out of the country and be hiding from law enforcement, but their mothers somehow will know.
I like that. That's easy. I would just say to the mother, Missouri law requires me to send any excess funds to him after he moves out.
Yep.
And so
that's it.
It's a negative number, but
just as long as you got to be careful, not because I've seen people break the law just by what they said, and I've seen lawyers use that against you, because they will. But you can word stuff to where you're telling the truth and getting the information you want. So UPS is one guy we used to have that would say he was from UPS and he's got a delivery from this jewelry company and didn't know how to get a hold of him, and it worked like every time, except that was really technically not truthful. So he was on his own, but that was somebody in our office, but there's little things you can do like that. But mothers know for some reason. They keep track of their kids.
Well, Dave, another thought, when he applied, on the application, usually they list, their nearest relatives. Do you have that information? Like several relatives on the application.
I think I might just have the mother. I think I just have the emergency contact.
Oh, okay, only. Yeah, because usually I'll have, like list of relatives and you have, mom, dad, sister, brother. I mean, I've had that, and that's an easy way to contact, through that. So, yeah. But if you just have like John said, just go with the mother.
If you already got the mother's phone number, that's the way,
Right.
a good place to start. I knew John would have a better answer for that.
Of course.
Yeah,
For what when we use, yeah, the ones more, there are mortgage specific ones, but you can even change it yourself. I think we did. I change my stuff a lot of times depending on what it is, but yeah, it's just a generic one, and then you fill in the account, you fill in everything at the time you need it. I like to get one. We used to do it when we do like sandwich leases and stuff like that, because you need to be able to talk to the mortgage company. They will not give you the time of day without it. I also use that same one for insurance companies when we're doing this, to become an additional insured, because a lot of times they will not talk to you unless you have that. And I recommend getting that signed at the time you're getting everything signed. Just one more document. It's an easy document to get signed. Nobody will ever sign it after the fact, but they will all sign it up front. And just like in one of the things we do with our like owner financing, I always get, when I'm meeting at the the bank for the notary or whatever, I always get a quit claim deed coming back to me too, because everybody always says they'll give it back and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if there's ever a problem, you want to be able to file that at the time. So those are two documents that I always do. And I've never used it on a rental property because we don't do those anymore, but I would almost recommend doing that on a rental property too, is getting a quit claim deed back to you at the time that you're getting your lease signed. That is just, it saves a lot of problems down the road.
Can you share that generic form with us?
Well, I don't really share a lot of documents because it is
Okay.
kind of legal. I could just tell you it's pretty generic. And I'll tell you what I will do. If you just want to send me a copy of what you got, I could show you what I would do to change it, to make
Sure.
it generic. It's really simple to do. I'd be happy to do that.
I'm a broker and this form is on Forms for Us, so I can't change it or I'm liable.
Okay, if you want to just send me, let me put my email address in there for you. And if you just want to
Thank you.
send me a copy of it, at least I'd be happy to show you what I would do. And the only reason
Thanks
I
a
don't want to
lot.
share mine with you is because of, it's not for legal reasons, but it's just, I mean, if we do business together or something, that's one thing. Or if you,
Totally understandable.
know,
That's fine. Yeah.
but I'm happy to show you what I would do. In fact, if you send it in your form, I just scratch out what you got and tell you what I would do.
All right. Thanks so much.
Certainly.
Okay, anybody else got anything for us today? Had some good discussions.
I have a question, and it's a pretty inexperienced question. But I was looking for a 2-family duplex for someone who is interested, and she lives out of town. So I found some, but most of them are they're like upper 200s to 300,000. And I'm thinking, well, this is not a good deal for her because there's no cash flow there. And so why would anyone buy a duplex at that kind of money when there would be no cash flow, and if they don't plan on living in it? Is it for appreciation, or why would people, investors, be attracted to something like that?
I can answer that question. If you had if you had $20 million, and I know you don't, but if you had $20 million, would you want to buy 10 $50,000 Ferguson houses, or would you rather sink 500,000 into the biggest single asset that you can, even if it doesn't cash flow, because you're parking your money, you're putting it in a safe place, and you're going to have some cash coming in, some return on that. You have to look at any cash flow coming in divided by 500,000 is probably better than where they might be trying to put it in. They don't know what the stock market's going to do. So to me, I think it's the big hedge funds that people that don't have they're not entrepreneurs like us, that we don't need we like Lloyd and I, we need to live off this money. They don't need to live off of that money, so they can take a lower return. That's my opinion of why they do that. And then of course they do have that X factor of potential appreciation in the future, though probably they're buying at the peak, but there's probably that little aspect to it too.
And do some of them just do it as a tax write-off? Or yeah, I guess. Because this would actually be a negative cash flow on how I figured it.
It's not negative cash flow if you have 10 million in pure cash sitting in a checking account. It's not negative cash flow. Okay, they aren't borrowing money. Okay, so I just rehabbed a house in St. Peter's last year, paid 90,000 for it, and put 90 in it. Let's call it, I put 110 in it. I had 200 total in it, 200,000 in St. Peter's. I sold it for 308. I made over $100,000. Sold it for 308. 9 months later, you go look up that exact address. 9 months later, an LLC, I think it was OfferPad, or no, it was some LLC that was doing rentals. 9 months later, they paid that person $390,000 for a 2-story. They paid me 308, and then they paid them 9 months later $390-something thousand for it.
Wow.
And they're just renting it out. So, you know, that if they're renting it for 1,500, 1,800, I don't know, Lloyd would know better what you can get on a 2-story in St. Peter's, but they even call it $2,000. You know, they're getting 24,000 a year on that, you know, money. And so that's, you know, better than what they can get in treasuries, I guess. I mean, I think it'll change.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think it will change as rates go up. You know, we hit 5, 7, 8%, then there is choices for them to do. But back in the days here with, you know, 0.5% on the 10-year T-bill, you know, 1.5% on T-bill, you know, you're getting 3%, they're happy with it. So, you know, I mean, I see it, you know, we just did a house in Winsville. Okay.
Gotcha.
If you go to my Facebook page, my student, you know, basically she bought this house, you know, for a lot of money. It was 178,000, and you put like 80 in it. So they got like, you know, 260 or 80, like 280 in it. They just sold it for about 400,000. They made $100,000. The buyer was a cash buyer from one of these rental companies, if you want to call it an LLC, to rent the thing out at 400,000 in Winsville. So they're just parking their cash, I think.
I gotcha. Okay, so in those situations, it would most likely be a cash buyer. That makes sense.
With too much money on their hands.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. Okay, I don't know many of those people, but okay.
Or if it's in a 2-family and in a nice neighborhood, yeah, it might be somebody buying it to live in too.
Yeah.
But you know, that's been prevalent though with there's a lot of hedge funds that are out there. But like David said, I think that's going to be changing with both the interest rates and also as prices start to stabilize, maybe even decline a little bit before they stabilize again. That process maybe changes some there, or those hedge funds may be changing their investment strategies.
Okay.
I don't know how much it's going to be changing, because if you're in California or Denver, 350,000 for a 2-family, you're like a kid in a candy store. You know, you buy 6 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I was figuring that they would have to pay mortgage on that, but.
No,
Gotcha.
they're looking at it, as David pointed out, it's a whole different calculation for a hedge fund.
Yes.
Invest money in real estate because they're cash buyers and
Okay. Thank you.
for return. Okay, great discussions here today, man. We get made a roundabout. What was there a topic we didn't touch on? We covered a lot of ground here today. So, anybody got any final remarks? It's 12 o'clock already. So, anybody got anything else? If not, I think we'll wrap it up here. We will hopefully have Kathy Davis, the attorney, on with us next Friday, and looking forward to seeing everybody then. And again on September 20th when we have our panel discussion. So that's all for me. I don't know. Do you got anything last words, John? I
really don't have anything right now. I just say My thoughts are just get ready for all the sales, because I really believe they're going to be adjusting real soon here. And, you know, I don't know about stabilization of anything in our lifetime, because what I've seen, it's always kind of a roller coaster, but just look for deals. I mean, there's deals, always deals out there. Yep.
Yep.
It's good to see everybody. And as always, every Friday at 11, feel free to tune in. And we always have good discussions. You go back and watch any of the replays if you want. Because you do have to kind of dig through some of this stuff to find out stuff, but it's really, I don't know, we're all here to help each other, and, you know, together we can all do well together and get what we want. So that's why we do this.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.